And yes, my fish room is kind of outside, hence the birds, hence the outside rain sounds and everything like that. But anyway, welcome back to one of my videos. I need more room, and I think in this video I'm going to go through my vague ideas about how to get more room in this sort of space. And if you haven't seen any of my videos before, a lot of fish. This is not a shop. I know I have to keep saying it's not a shop because a lot of people get confused and they're like, where is this shop? And no, I do have an aquarium shop, but these are all my private tanks. And yeah, lots of fish that I've had over the years, and breed them randomly, keep them, and just generally have fun with fish. I know it is a big mess and it needs to stop being a big mess. My future plans are to get more room and more things. I know. Why? Well, everything is breeding, and why everything is breeding, I kind of want them to breed and grow them up and have some lots of cool fish, etc, etc. Now, a lot of people have also commented about the fact that I don't mass produce fish. What's the point of breeding them if you only breed like 20 or 10 or whatever? And yeah, what's the point of anything when you sort of get into those kinds of questions? So I mainly breed stuff that I like, and not necessarily breed stuff that, yeah, I want to mass produce and just pump out numbers, because then it sort of goes more about money as opposed to the actual fish. And yeah, everyone's like, oh, maybe you should stop and enjoy what you've got. And that's why I don't breed a heap of what I've got, because I enjoy what I've got. Anyway, now that we've gone through all of that vagueness, what has happened with this rack? Wow, okay. If you've seen any of my videos, every time you see a video, there are different fish in different tanks. And that is mainly because things breed, I have to move stuff around, and I get new fish all the time because I do have an aquarium shop, and people either donate fish or we get some really cool fish that we unbox, and I have to pinch some because they're cool. And yes, even though I've had an aquarium shop for like 25 years and I bred fish for like nearly 40 years now, I know, that is crazy. 40 years, yes, I am that old. Yeah, there are still cool fish that I see just about every week and want to take home. But this rack, we're going to go through what is in these tanks now and future plans on what is in these tanks. We're going to start with this tank. Now, this 2-foot tank, oh, I should actually probably go through the stand as well. It is 12 2-foot tanks, so I don't have a light down the bottom, so you can't see what's in there at the moment. Nothing too exciting though. But it is 2-foot tank, so 2 foot by 1 foot on a rack. And it is 4 tanks there, 4 there, 4 there. If we nip around the other side, where all the mess is, that is my dodgy setup with overflows, and all it is an overflow with a bulkhead fitting. They're about $29 for a bulkhead fitting. It's just drilled a hole, it overflows into PVC pipe and goes into a tub, and then I've got a great white pump in there. They're really good pumps, and cobwebs on a controller. It is on level 6 out of 20, so you can program it and pump the water up more and stuff, but I've just got the water slowly trickling through these into there. Sump doesn't have any filter media or anything like that. It is just a sump to support all the water, and all the filtration is a sponge filter in every single tank. And oh, if we actually zoom in there, those little white dots on that filter stem are Pygmy corydoras eggs. One down the bottom is not fertile, that white one, but that clear one is fertile. I did manage to save a few. They're in that little tub there. Oh, we did actually focus, my goodness. And there's a few sitting on the glass, but I managed to take all the other fish out of that, apart from the Pygmy cories, and we'll go around and explain that tank to you in a bit and move them all over the place. Yeah, so anyway, this system is 2/3 reverse osmosis water, which is low mineral water, and 1/3 tap, which gives me a TDS about 50, 40, something like that, which is total dissolved solids, and the pH runs between 6 and 6.5 on average. Yeah, and it's about 24, 25 degrees unheated at the moment because it is kind of warm in here, but I can always add a couple of 400-watt heaters to the sump if it gets a little bit too cold. Because we are in southeast Queensland where it's sort of subtropical, so too cold in the middle of winter and then hot. So we've only really got about 2 or 3 months we have to worry about the heat. Otherwise, the slight fluctuations in that don't really upset the fish. But stable environment is obviously a lot better. So yeah, we do need to heat them. That is how that is all rigged up. So sponge filters in every tank, but all the water is connected, but I can turn the water off with those little taps. Okay, so now that we know how the filtration works and the water quality and stuff like that, what is in the actual tank? So this tank here is where I spawned the hoplo catfish. Hoplo catfish are actually back in my sump, which is down the bottom here, which is a 6x2, and that is the sump for all these 2-foot tanks, which is just grow out mostly at the moment. So after I had the hoplo catfish in here, we had a pair of angelfish. They spawned a couple of times. Their babies are in this tub here. There they are there, if you can kind of see them. They're about a week and a bit old at the moment, so eating newly hatched baby brine shrimp. Not too sure where they're going at the moment, but I've got them in those little tubs. And they're little Zest breeders. They are awesome little tubs for just popping, let's just zoom out, for popping in a little tank like that, and you can grow the fry up and they don't get eaten by the parents or whatever. But this tank, I had a really nice pair of albino cubensis. Well, I still have them. They are in here. If I can zoom in, that is her. Yep, that is her there. You can't really see what she looks like, but they are well lovely fish. So I thought, okay, I've conditioned them after quarantining them. They came from mates, popped them in here with their log, and all their babies fell out. I know, they bred within days of getting them. I didn't notice, so I had to take them out of here, but I left their babies in, and that's what they are there. Now, albino cubensis are kind of weird because albino genes are usually recessive, but these are not recessive. So if you have 2 albino fish, you'll get normal brown ones, which are the ones with the little speckles, and you'll get albinos. It's kind of weird. So usually 2 albinos, they're recessive, all the babies are albinos, but not with cubensis. Yeah, they're like multi-gene animals. But check out their little tiny babies, and that is their first feed this morning on just newly hatched baby brine shrimp. Actually, no, I think de-shelled baby brine shrimp I gave these guys and girls. But they're just starting to swim, so I'll have some really cool albino cubensis. And if you haven't seen them before, I'll try and put one on the screen. But they are one of the nicest albinos. They're not just white. They have pinks in them, purples in them, the yellow, the white stripes. They are really pretty little dwarf cichlids. And you can keep them with a lot of community fish and that, neons, all those sort of stuff. Lovely little fish, but I'm growing up one batch of them. Hopefully I will have another batch in a couple of weeks and yeah, start sort of producing more of those in this tank. Okay, this had a whole lot of other bits and pieces. It's mostly just got my Pygmy corydoras at the moment. These are all adults, and a few of the smaller ones in there are actually babies that were bred in this tank. But I've taken everything out except for the Pygmy cories. So give them a good go at actually spawning and some of the babies surviving. Pygmy cories are tiny, obviously, that's why they're called a Pygmy cory. But they're one of the weird corydoras that actually swims and scatters around. But those females are absolutely fat with eggs. Look at the size of them. And these fish are maybe only about 3 centimeters max. That's how big they get. So their eggs, I have no idea how many fertile ones are in here. But there's a fair few. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's a fertile egg. There's a few unfertile ones. We'll see what hatches in the next few days, and they'll just rummage around that tank, and I'll just feed them microworms and stuff like that. But hopefully we'll have a little batch of those available. I always have those available in the shop because we get them from the importers and stuff, but it's fun to breed your own as well. In this tank, we have our albino emperor tetras, and they are absolutely gorgeous fish. I did spawn these in a tub, and yeah, I've still got some of their babies down below. I'll show you in a second because they're in this rack. And I have, where are we? A pair of dwarf cichlids in here. You would have seen them if you're a member on my channel because we have members videos. But of course, when I'm filming this, they're not here. So I might put them on the actual screen, but they are a delicate little African cichlid that needs a really acidic pH, and they're a bit of a pain to keep. I've tried before and didn't successfully keep them. I know, me not keeping anything successfully. Yeah, but I know why. So I have one pair in there hiding, and that tank is actually not on the system. So this tank is completely separate than all the other tanks, mainly because that way I can get the water quality in here is different than all these, because if I have the water super acidic, it'll crash all these tanks. So the emperors will survive perfectly fine in that. In this tank, we have our pair of German blue rams right at the back. There's dad down below, mum up the top. They did eat their last batch of babies, so that's 2 lots. So I think the next time they have babies, I'm going to take them out and grow them up, because I do want a nice batch of blue rams, and they are really, really pretty fish. Let's zoom back in. Yeah, they are lovely dwarf cichlids. And I have, what have I got? My red tetras, scarlet tetras. Now, see the 2 little baby ones up the top that look like black neons? They are baby scarlet tetras. Yeah, I found them in one of the bottom tanks because obviously they had spawned. I had them in there, then I moved them out because they were eating the cichlid fry, and then I put them back in because they were in there. So they've sort of jumped back and forward a fair few times, but they got their babies in there as well. And I think I have 4, what are they? Albino lemon tetras, which are also a very, very underrated fish. Obviously they are white, but they get a nice yellow sheen to them. Pretty sure I've got 2 boys and 2 girls. Yes, looking at them, yep, there's a girl at the front, girl there, and the other 2 are boys. I do need to spawn them, but I also need time to do that. And yeah, I never really have enough time to muck around with stuff like that. But hopefully I will before they, yeah, just scatter their eggs and I have random ones pop up. But that's not a bad thing anyway. I have a few random celestial pearl dinos, which I've rescued from one of my tubs, and a few little Otto Cichlids at the back there somewhere. There was absolutely nothing really in that tank. Now, the Bircher, or Bircher, they are in here. I did dump them all in together. There's about 40 or 50 of them. That one darted away. There's one right there. Oh, don't you hate it when it doesn't focus? Okay, let's try again. Nope. Okay, let's see if we can ruffle them up and find another one. Come on. There they all go. So I didn't actually want hundreds of baby Senegals. So yeah, it sounds a bit dicky, but I didn't want hundreds of them. We only really wanted to grow up like about 40 or 60 of them. And these will be available hopefully in the next month or so, around about $100 each, because it does cost a fair bit to feed them all live food continuously. So they're now just big enough to eat blackworms. There's a wiggly blackworm there. But the blackworms are almost the same size as the Bircher or Bircher. But how pretty are they? So there's a fair few of them in there, as I said. They all kind of look the same. There's no weird short-bodied ones. Unfortunately, no albinos or anything like that. But that is where they are. That is now on the system, so the water is trickling through, and yeah, they will just keep growing. Now that they're eating blackworms, and of course, you would eat just as I move away with the camera. But now they're eating blackworms, they're going to grow super, super, super fast. And yeah, I am actually spawning them again. And that's where they are in this tank here, which is just a 3-foot tank. I have countless videos on how to spawn them. There is one just looking pretty. The other 2, I think I've got 2 boys and a girl, and one's just somewhere in the spawning mop. Yes, that is a fluorescent pink spawning mop. Tons of informational videos on how to spawn those, but you can always ask and I'll get back to you anyway. And this tank here is just a big mess of subwassatang. There are all my neons at the back. So albino neons and normal neons that we bred, and these are now mature adults. Oh, and there's some really fat females that are going to spawn. Yeah, they will eat their eggs, so I'm not too concerned about them in there. But yeah, I will spawn them again, but I think it's been like 9 months since I spawned them. And actually in the subwassatang, there is a whole lot of fat cooler loaches, which I have not done anything about yet. I know. Of course, they've all moved away. Yeah, okay, you're not going to see them, but there's some really nice loaches. There goes one darting around. I do want to trigger them to breed, but I also need 5 minutes to settle down and do that. Not going to happen right now. You saw the angelfish before. In here, we've also got a few random assorted babies. So there are, if we can focus, random cherry barbs. I know, just a few that have spawned. There are some random tiny little gouramis. That is a pearl gourami. And where did I see them? I cannot see them. There was some albinos. There, down there, that is an albino emperor tetra. But where are the other albino emperor tetras? Actually up here. There we go. Sorry, there's a whole lot of albino emperor tetras in here, but they are so small, they're not even going to eat the pygmy cory eggs. Look at that. That is tiny. I know. I did spawn them in a tub, and trying to catch the babies and put them in one of these, they almost went through the mesh, and the mesh is super fine on the sides of those. I kind of gave up trying to catch them, and I've got a few in a tub growing up as well, but I wanted some in a tank so we can actually see what they look like. And how cool is that? Ah, oh, there we go. Yeah, that is ridiculously small. Like, tiny. Maybe, I don't know, 5 mil? Something like that. Where are the other ones? You just can't see them, and they do tend, well, can't focus on you. They do tend to just dart into the subwassatang, which is like the mossy stuff as well. But we got little babies, they are eating fine. Yeah, that's where the baby tetras are gone. I think I've got a whole 10. Woohoo! I will try and get more of those. They are not an easy fish to get to sell. Yeah, we don't see them very often, but yeah, check out the girl there, completely filled with eggs. That's the yellow ones are the girls, those are the boys. Absolutely filled with eggs. Need to deal with that. Haven't dealt with that. But that is in there. Oh, there is more of the hoplo catfish. There's little tiny baby hoplos in there. I'm not going to bother pulling all that tank apart to show you because I do have a whole lot of the hoplos in here as well. Wherever they've gone. Oh, there's some. There's some darting around. Look at those. Come out, come out, come out. Well, there we go. So the hoplo babies are actually starting to look like hoplos. So these are the spotted hoplo cats. Oh, and there's the really cool one. Look at that thing. Okay, that is a short-bodied hoplo catfish. I'm like, what the? Look at it. Oh, come on, move over. Really? They've completely stirred their tank up because I just fed them this morning. Oh, look at it. It's like a little ball with fins. Okay, sit, sit, sit. It's not listening to me, and it's not sitting. There are 2 short-bodied hoplos. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of short-bodied fish, but I do want to breed the short-bodied hoplos because that would be ridiculous. Little round balls with fins. I know, as long as they're genetically okay, so if they grow up and they look like healthy males and females, or healthy adults I should say, it doesn't matter if they're males or females, well it does to breed, but you know what I mean, I will breed them. But if they look like they've got issues, I'm not going to bother breeding them. Yeah, we've got a whole lot of hoplos there. I do have hoplos turning up this week. Oh, and some really nice catfish I haven't had for like 10-15 years. It's probably 15 years now. I'm not going to tell you what they are in this video, but they'll be in the unboxing video later in the week. But I also have some albino hoplo catfish turning up for sale. I know, how nice are they? There's a male, that is a female. I think I've got 2 boys and 2 girls here. You can't have those ones because they are mine. But those were the albino hoplos that were in that tank when I was quarantining them. And now they are on this system. So it depends on the fish, how long I quarantine stuff before I put them into a system. Like the red angels that I got, I think 2 weeks ago, they are now in this system too. There is one there, and unfortunately we can't get any red angels at the moment. But obviously I'm growing some up, so I will have some for breed. Here are all the baby gouramis I've got as well. There's another tank of them around the other side. Mixture of pearl gouramis and gold gouramis. They actually look like gouramis now, how cool is that? And they were bred in a tub as well. It's pretty easy to breed stuff when you want to. It's just condition the adults, make sure your water quality is good, and tons of food. That is it. And you can technically breed just about any fish apart from the nightmare fish. I'm not really going to go through what is in all these tanks. Obviously lots of baby fish, but I think we will leave this video at that. And I thought I would just do an update on what is on that rack. Yeah, in the next videos, I've got big plans on making more room because I definitely need more room, and I'm going to redo all this. If you've seen the members video, I'm not going to go through all that in this video, but I had ideas on what I want to do with this area to try and recreate that because that system is working really, really well. Oh, I did get some more baby fish though. Did get them? Well, they bred. Rostratus? How cool are they? They are one of the nicest big Malawi cichlids. They get about 30 centimeters. Got a decent batch of Rostratus. And for the first time ever, these little guys and girls, these are your white-lipped Meducas, which is a really nice blue haplochromis. Well, I think they're not haplochromis anymore. They used to be haplochromis. Blue with white lips, obviously. I'll put one on the screen so you can see what they look like and what they look like. Oh, and yes, I know, I have lots of baby fish. Black Calvis, yay! Look, my first batch of Black Calvis. So thank you very much, Luke from the Aquarium store thingy. I've said your name wrong, haven't I? Luke from Toowoomba in the Aquarium place. He's got a shop in Toowoomba. Go visit him, he's got lots of cool fish. But that is where these guys and girls came from, Black Calvis, and yes, they bred pretty quick. There's a male there, there's a female there, that's actually the parents of the ones that bred. There's another bloke there. Cool Tanzanican fish. Anyway, let's leave it at that. If you want to see more fish room videos, there'll be a link there. And yeah, if you want to be a member and see other videos, there's a link down in the bottom. We'll see you in the next video.